This is our Transit we bought to restore, a 1998 R Transit 80 low roof short wheelbase. The van was in quite good shape when we bought it. Mechanically it was very good, the interior was nice and clean, no holes in the floor. There was quite a lot of panel work to do to the van, mainly on the wheel arches, sills, back doors. There's a little bit of rust underneath but nothing major, but what started off as a small project turned into quite a big job. The engine was in really good shape. There was a couple of oil leaks, which I think were coming from the main oil seal, but other than that it had a recent cam out, sounded nice and drove really well. The back of the van was a bit untidy. There was an old seat in it and the bulkhead was quite damaged, but we weren't too worried as this was all being stripped out.
Look how clean that interior is. 156,000 miles. Felix, what do you think of this van?
Not good.
It's not good?
It was time to have a proper look underneath, so I took it down to the local garage. They put it up on the ramp and we had a really good look underneath. The van was a little bit worse than I thought underneath. It had some bad welding on the rear chassis and it needed quite a lot doing on the sills, but other than that it was quite good. It was starting to look like it was going to need a lot of panels. Luckily most of the panels I needed were still available. The chassis was quite rotten at the back. It was definitely going to need some welding to get it looking right again. But nothing we couldn't do, but probably more than I thought we were going to have to. We chalked up all the areas that needed welding underneath just so we wouldn't miss them later. It was time to get it back to our own workshops, strip out the ply, have a look underneath. Hopefully we weren't going to be in for too many surprises, as we had a good look at it on the ramp and the floor didn't look too bad other than one wheel arch. We carried on stripping all the ply lining out, ready for it to go into the body shop, as there was going to be a lot of welding and we didn't really want it catching fire. I was pleasantly surprised what we found. Considering the age of this van and the reputation for rusting, I think we had a really good base to start. All the panels turned up. Some of them were quite good, some needed a bit of fettling, but on the whole we were quite pleased considering they were quite cheap. It was time to take the engine out, so we sat next door to the guys and they took the engine out for us. I had a couple of oil leaks which made everything look worse, but it was mainly coming from the main oil seal on the back of the gearbox. begin, so we took it around to our wash bay to give it a good steam clean before we stripped it down. The engine bay was quite good, a little bit of surface rust and a bit of rust at the top of the suspension pillars, but other than that, really good. It's time to give it a good steam clean, get all the oil off it, any contaminants before we took it into the paint shop. We had our new snow foam gun turn up, so we thought we'd give the van a snow foam. A little bit unnecessary, but it was a bit of fun. We put some acid on the wheels to get rid of all the old brake dust. It actually came up quite well. Carried it round to the body shop so the panel work could begin. We started by taking the old wings off. Unfortunately, the new wings weren't a great fit, so we were going to have to use the old wings and a combination of the new wings to make them fit properly. Cut the inner wing out, ready to put the new one in. We then cut all the outer sill off, the inner sill and the rear wheel arch ready for the new panels. We didn't buy panels for everywhere. The holes were quite small in the engine bay, so we just plated them. The cab floor was really good, very solid. Definitely wasn't going to need much welding, if any. Surprisingly, the outer sill and driver's wheel arch were both very good, and we saved most of those as well. We fitted the new inner sill panel. Unfortunately, we couldn't buy all the sills we wanted, so some of them had to be made. We fitted the inner wheel arches, ready to put the outer ones on. Most of the panels fitted quite well, but we were still having problems with the wings. Like I said earlier in the video, in the end we used the old wings, new wings, a combination of both, and they fitted quite nicely. All of a sudden the van was starting to come together. Probably my favourite bit when we start seeing some panels back on. You can start to see what the van's going to look like once you're finished. There's still a big job ahead of us, but we've broken the back of most of the panel right now. I was glad how the van was shaping up. The boys had done a great job, taking plenty of care in their work. With the majority of the panel work done, it was time just to smooth out with a bit of filler. We also started prepping all the engine bay, rubbing it all down, ready for paintwork. There was quite a lot of rubbing down to do in this van, as we were going to paint the inside as well. We started to get the van prepped, ready so we could get it all primed. It was time to start the last bit of major metalwork, the back doors. In hindsight, I think it would have been better to find another pair of doors, but we bought bottoms now, so we carried on. It was time to paint the inside of the back of the van, so I masked it all off ready and put it in the paint booth ready to be painted. We used some different paint on this van, Lexma, a much more expensive product than what we normally paint with, but it was going to give us a really glossy finish, just what we wanted from this van. I've sped the video up a bit here so you can see how the spraying process works. We don't normally spray at this pace. With the inside painted, it was time to focus our attention back on the outside. So we rubbed down all the primer and got it ready to go in the paint booth. We then remasked the van, put it in the paint booth and got it ready for paint. At this point we'd been on the van for nearly 6 months, not continuously, but a few days here and a few days there. It was surprising how long it had taken to get this van to this stage. paint we used was excellent. The shine was unbelievable. We gave it 3 coats, but I think we could have got away with 2. But the paint job really spoke for itself. It was then into the doors. We needed to get those finished so we could get those painted. We had all the engine stripped down, rubbed down, and ready for paint. We went with a gloss finish. I thought it would look quite nice. By the time we get all the other bits on it, it should look quite tidy. Then for my favourite bit, the reassembly. This is the bit where all your work comes to fruition. The wheels have been away to be shot blasted. When we came back, we primed them, sent them down to our local garage who fitted the new Goodyear tyres. I like to fit the tyres before we paint them, as I've damaged lots of wheels fitting tyres afterwards. As you probably saw earlier on in the video, the rear axle was really rusty, so that had been away for shot blasting as well. It was then to start getting all the black bits painted, so we did a few loads in the booth. I've managed to source quite a lot of genuine parts for this van, including the springs. I think it really sets the van off. We completely undersealed the whole van in white so it looked original. Then we started to refit it with all the new bits. We then went back to the engine. We built ourselves a custom stand so we were able to put the gearbox on the ground. The engine really did come out well. With the engine now built back up, it was time to put it back in the van. We then put the rest of the doors on, started getting the detail right. After quite a few attempts, the first start of the engine. With all the bodywork finished, it was now time to fit the interior back in the van and sort the back out. I was really pleased with the end result of this van. It had taken 6 months, but the end result was amazing. It had taken a lot more money and a lot more time than I initially thought, but I think the end result speaks for itself. I hope you enjoyed my video. Take a look at my YouTube or my TikTok for other projects that I've got ongoing at the moment.
Never felt this way about the thing you